Alrighty. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys a couple things with our portrait. So the first thing we covered was how to cut up our face. So you see I cut my face up into four pieces, and I can work with these 4 pieces. I can do different things, and I can add stuff to this for the collage. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, and now I want to add my flowers. So today we're going to cover how to be precise with selections using our select and mask. We're going to talk a little bit about layer masks. We're going to talk a little bit about adding some fields of color. And then we're going to talk about how to do some blend modes with layers. So first things first, you want to get your flowers in. So I got my flowers in here that I chose. And now I can be a little precise. I'm not going to use all of this. I just want kind of these orange flowers and these stems. Again, when you're picking an image, you want to try to find an image with a blank background. It makes life so much easier. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to my quick selection tool, which is the 4th tool down. And then up at the top, you're going to see select and mask. So I'm going to click select and mask. And you're going to probably get something on a blank background like this where it looks like it's kind of feathered in. You might have it on certain modes, but what you can do is go ahead and make sure it's on the onion skin. So what this is going to allow us to do is make a selection and see what it's going to look like. So up at the top, you'll have a plus and a minus. The plus means I'm going to add to my selection. The minus means take away. So now what I can do is I can use my bracket keys to make the selection a little more sensitive or a little less sensitive. And I'm going to go in and start brushing over my flowers. Now you'll notice they start to appear. That means that's the selection that I have right now. So if I move this transparency dial all the way over, that's what my selection would be if I saved it as it is. So now I can go through and start getting some of these flowers. Now what you can see here is I'm getting some of this gray. So if you look, right, I have some of this gray in here. I don't want that. I want to get rid of that. I just want the leaves and the stems. I don't want anything else. So how do I get rid of those nasty gray areas? I go up to my minus, and then I go in and I click in those gray areas, and you'll see it's going to take away those kind of selections. So this is getting rid of anything that I don't want, because that will show up in my image. So perfect. So now I have a pretty good selection. Let's see what it looks like when I completely make it transparent. So that's what I have. That looks really good. I don't have any really gray areas. Now some of these things down below is like feather. Obviously we don't want any of that. Smooth. This is going to smooth the edge of those selections. The one that I like is contrast. I'm going to move that over, and that's going to create a contrasting edge between my, where the selection is. And then lastly, I'm going to go to decontaminate colors. That just takes away any of the gray that's on the outside edges of those flowers. All right, so how do we get this onto our document? If you look down here in the main menu, it says Output Settings. I want to output to a new layer with a layer mask. So then I click OK. And now I have this layer. So I'm going to title this Flowers. And now I'm going to duplicate my layer. And I'm going to duplicate it over to my About Me collage. And if I go over there, boom, I got my flowers here. Now, if I hit Control T, I can rotate these, I can move these, and get these wherever I want. I can leave them in color, I can make them in black and white. I like them in color for sure. And then I'm going to hit Return. So if you look in the flowers, there's a little thing called a mask. And what this is basically it's just covering the photo. So watch, if I take black paint, so if I flip this and I grab black paint and click OK, and I grab a black paintbrush and I brush over these flowers, it deletes them. So what I could do is I could say, all right, none of this is going to be in my image, so I'm just going to delete some of this. You know, make it look kind of like it fits in a little bit better. Obviously, I could drag this below all my face layers, kind of like so. But let's say I wanted some of it to appear behind and some of it to appear in front. What I could do is I could go in and I could take that brush and I could brush away. Oops. I got to make sure I'm on my mask image. I can brush away and erase, you know, obviously some of these flowers to where it looks like it's behind and it looks like it's kind of in front. Kind of like so. Kind of like that. Now you might notice, like for instance, there's a couple spots where I missed a selection. What I could do is go in with that black, oop, make it a little smaller, oop, even smaller, and I can even add more, you know, get rid of some things in this selection to make it look a little better. So what this is doing is technically erasing without actually erasing, because let's say if I wanted to bring some of those flowers back, I would just flip this to white. Move this up. And you'll see I can start bringing back, oop, make sure I'm on my mask. I can start bringing back some of those flowers and so forth. So how this works is the white brings stuff back, the black takes stuff away. You just have to make sure you're on the layer mask menu, not the image, the layer mask menu. So I'm down here. Again, make sure we're on that layer mask. So that's how layer masks work, and that allows us to do different things to make things fit in a little bit better. So the next thing that I want to show you how to do is how do we add fields of color. I'm actually going to resize these flowers just a little bit, make them a little smaller. Maybe rotate them a little bit. Kind of like so. Perfect. So now we're going to add just some fields of color to create some cool effects in here. So I'm going to go in, and what we can do to add a field of color is if I grab a rectangle tool, so it should be the third one down, I could actually draw a rectangle. It'll make a new layer. And what I can do is I can change the color of this. So if you look here, there should be a box. It says Set Fill Shape. I can click the colorful rainbow box. And I'm going to go with something like so. I'm going to actually drag this to the top. And I don't want it to be so harsh. I just want it to kind of be like a color overlay. So what I could do is I could reduce the opacity. The other thing that I could do is if I didn't want a rectangle, I could do a circle. So you have ellipse, rounded ellipse, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to add a circle on here somewhere. I'm going to make this one a little more red. And I'm going to reduce the opacity over in my layers menu. Kind of like so. And now we're good. The last thing I want to show you is the ability to add blend modes. So what we could do is, let's say if let's click one of the rectangles here. If you see up here in the top of the layers menu, you'll see a word that says normal. This is a blending mode. So if I click that drop down menu, all these little things are going to pop up. And if I go down the menu, you'll see that it blends that color into the layer below it different ways. So you can look at it and be like, oh, that looks sweet. Or you could choose something to create different effects. So let's do that with the ellipse. Let's go up. I like that. That looks pretty cool. So blend modes take the colors of the image and blend them down into the layers below it to create some cool things. So now if I move this circle, you'll see how it does different things wherever I put it. Maybe I reduce the opacity a little bit, just so it doesn't stand out, and boom. So what I'd like you to do today is I'd like you to do a couple things. I'd like you to get your flowers in using the quick selection tool with the select and mask. Then I would like you to add some fields of color and find some different blend modes that will work with that. Obviously, when you're using the blend modes, you don't want to do stuff that's like way too crazy to where it really hurts the image, but you want to just find some stuff that'll work kind of cool and really create some different effects. That kind of work well. All right, you guys, enjoy, have fun, and we will see what you accomplish. Go ahead and send me a progress photo after your work today. Later.